The Trump administration is dealing with crises both natural and of its own making, from hurricanes to a series of scandals involving cabinet members. So naturally, President Trump spent the weekend attacking athletes for peacefully protesting police brutality. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Tensions with North Korea over its nuclear program are escalating, and there's currently an urgent humanitarian crisis in Puerto Rico, where more than 3 million American citizens are currently without power after Hurricane Maria. So President Trump decided what our nation needed most this past weekend was one more thing for us to deal with.
President Donald Trump says athletes who take a knee during the national anthem should be fired.
It all started on Friday when President Trump went on a tear during a rally in Alabama. Here's a reminder of what he said, and I should warn you, some, especially young ones in the room, are going to find this language offensive.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Let's just take a step back and consider how embarrassing it is that news anchors now have to introduce comments from the president by warning little children to leave the room. Donald Trump is our first NC-17 president. And it's not even a good NC-17 movie. Trump is basically the Showgirls of presidents. Trump's presidential library is going to be in the back of a video store where they keep all the pornos. You're going to have to enter through a beaded curtain. You guys got the State of the Union back here? Trump's unhinged rant only got worse from there when he bizarrely suggested that NFL ratings were down because people would rather watch him.
The NFL ratings are down massively. Now, the number one reason happens to be that they like watching what's happening on, with yours truly.
That's right. In Donald Trump's mind, people are turning off NFL games, gathering their friends, and ordering pizza to watch an out-of-shape blowhard shuffle around like he got separated from a tour group. But when you think about it, Trump is better than the NFL because with Trump, you get all of the concussions with none of the hitting. Trump talks like he just got his bell rung. Someone should always be checking his eyes with a pen flashlight. How many fingers am I holding up? 3 million illegal voters. This guy's done for the day. This guy's done for the day. Trump then went on to claim that the other reason ratings are down is that viewers are turning off games when they see players kneel during the anthem.
But you know what's hurting the game more than that? When people like yourselves turn on television and you see those people taking the knee when they're playing our great national anthem.
Sorry, what? What was that hand motion? Can we see that again? Does he turn his TV off by stabbing it? Or is that just him poking his butler to make him change it? I don't like this anymore. Turn it off, Jeeves! Very well, sir, very well. Trump then doubled down on his claim about the ratings and attendance, tweeting over the weekend, if NFL fans refuse to go to games until players stop disrespecting our flag and country, you will see change take place fast, fire or suspend. And by asking fans to boycott the league, Trump was attacking the pocketbook of many who would use their pocketbooks to help Trump.
Mr. Trump's criticism led to sideline demonstrations yesterday at stadiums across the country.
During the anthem, players joined arms, sat or knelt. Even Redskins owner Dan Snyder, a Trump supporter, joined in. Shahid Khan, the league's only Muslim owner and a Trump supporter, locked arms with his team, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
New England Patriots owner Bob Kraft, who gave Mr. Trump a Super Bowl ring and contributed to his campaign, says he was deeply disappointed by the president's comments.
He gave Trump a Super Bowl ring, and now Trump is attacking the NFL. This is a reminder that supporting Trump is a lot like robbing a bank. Just when you think you got away with it, the die pack explodes. By now, It should be clear to everyone who Donald Trump is and what he represents. When black athletes peacefully protest racism and police brutality, Trump has no trouble summoning his outrage. But when white supremacists march with Nazi flags and Confederate flags through the streets of an American city, he equivocates and then defends them. But Trump wasn't content to feud with just one massively popular sports league this weekend. He decided to tangle with the NBA as well after seeing a Fox and Friends segment on Steph Curry's decision not to go to the White House with the Golden State Warriors. Trump saw that and tweeted, "Going to the White House is considered a great honor for a championship team. Stephen Curry is hesitating, therefore invitation is withdrawn." But this prompted a response from LeBron James himself, who tweeted at Trump, "You bum." Steph Curry already said he ain't going. So therefore, ain't no infight. Going to the White House was a great honor until you showed up. Is there anything better than calling Donald Trump a bum? Bum is such a great old-timey sports insult. He talks about the president the way guys in fedoras used to talk about a 42-year-old overweight boxer. He's a bum. There were so many memorable responses to the president's comments this weekend, but if you were angry and frustrated, you might have found some catharsis in this tweet from Buffalo Bills running back LaShawn McCoy, who wrote, "It's really sad, man. Our president is an ass." I have to say, the most devastating part of that is the ellipsis. You can almost see McCoy tenting his fingertips and going, how shall I put this? I know, accurately. Because you think he's gearing up for a longer rant, and then he just calls the president an ass. That's like sending a friend a text that says, "I have something very important I need to tell you," then typing for 10 minutes so all they see are dots, and then following up with, "You suck." Trump, of course, only dug in after that, obsessively tweeting over the weekend about sports, despite tweeting not once about the crisis in Puerto Rico. On Saturday, he wrote, "If a player wants the privilege of making millions of dollars in the NFL or other leagues, he or she should not be allowed to disrespect our great American flag." Okay, first of all, it's not a privilege. The players are the sport, and without them, there is no league. There's a reason DirecTV has a Red Zone channel and not an owner's box channel. And second, it wasn't just athletes protesting police brutality who stood up against Trump this weekend. He also earned harsh rebukes from football analysts who aren't exactly known as radicals.
What would you say to the president about all this stuff?
I would say he should apologize. They're not SOBs. They're smart, thoughtful guys.
When I heard the comments, I was so disappointed because I believe the comments are completely contradictory to what the flag represents.
There was even this comment from Trump supporter Rex Ryan.
I supported Donald Trump. You know, I sat back and when he asked me to introduce him at a rally, you know, in Buffalo, I did that. But I'm reading these comments and it's appalling to me.
Oh, so you supported Trump and then he let you down? Better cover your eyes. It will go off. Look, these athletes aren't just speaking for themselves. They're using their platform to call attention to racial injustice and speak out for others. And here now to use her platform to do the same, late-night writer Amber Ruffin.
Black people. What is wrong with you? I woke up on Saturday and heard Trump is attacking black people. And I was like, he is? And then they were like, verbally. And I was like, oh, thank God. Trump said when people kneel for the national anthem, they should kick that son of a bitch off the field. You know someone is racist when they don't even want black people in their field. And for the record, I would take a knee in a second. Unless a black lady was singing the national anthem, because that is too dang long to be on one knee. Then Trump disinvited Steph Curry to the White House after he said he wasn't going. That's like me saying, Taye Diggs, you can never come over to my house. He wasn't coming over in the first place. Taye, this was just a joke for a television show. Please come to my home anytime you like. If my husband answers the door, don't worry, he knows of our arrangement. I get Taye Diggs, and he gets an hour of silence. People are on Twitter talking about how the players are ungrateful. There is not enough time to unpack why that is a gross thing to say to a black person. Also, How are black people ungrateful when you called the White House a dump? Don't nobody want to eat at your dump with you? Also, no athlete wants to have dinner with you because no one wants to eat whatever it is you eat. Because maybe it's the food you eat that makes you look like that. You guys, this is about racial inequality. Look, if you have a problem with black people loudly protesting and silently protesting, then what you have a problem with is black people. What is your ideal form of black protest? Write down our complaints, put them in a bottle, and throw them in the ocean? Would you like it if our complaints were mournfully sung in an old Negro spiritual?
My president's a white supremacist. If he keeps on tweeting, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh my God, that does make me feel better. Look, let me be clear about what is happening here. Trump is trying to make sure to let black people know that if we don't fall in line, we will be punished. Well, guess what? If slavery didn't break us, this idiot certainly can't, you raggedy fool. Back to you, Sassy.
Amber Ruffin, everybody! This weekend was in many ways the perfect distillation of Trump's presidency, feeding his base racial and cultural resentments in order to keep them on his side as his team of corrupt authoritarians tries to swindle hardworking Americans out of their health care. Or, you know what? To quote LaShawn McCoy, our president is an ass. This has been a closer look.